here. Hi, Doug and Sarah and Heather and Dan. I'm assuming that's Dan Perot.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And Oda is not here. I've invited Oda. Hi, Dan. Here you are. And I've invited Oda and Jen. Kayla, did we invite Jen McIntyre?
I don't know. I don't think so.
From like last meeting? Okay, so maybe she was left off the list. I didn't have a chance to look at the list very carefully. Oda said he was going to join. I think I talked to him earlier today. I know he's not a fully fledged board member, but he was interested in joining us tonight.
I did send him an invite.
Yeah, he said he got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. We have quorum anyway, right? One,
Yes.
3, 4, and me. Okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. Let's jump right in because I know we've got lots going on. So let's start out with the approval of the agenda. If you've all had a chance to look over the December 8th, 2020 agenda, let me know if there's anything you'd like to add to it.
I have something. I don't know if we need to add it to marketing, maybe. The billboards in the south entrance.
Okay. Perfect.
That's it for me.
Oh, okay. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add or subtract or change? Sarah, are you okay with the agenda?
Yeah, totally.
Doug?
Yep, I'm okay.
All right. All right. So let's go ahead and make a resolution to approve tonight's agenda. So all in favor and anyone opposed? And the motion is carried. So disclosure of pecuniary interest or nature thereof, any conflict of interest that anyone would like to declare at this time? Okay, great. If anything comes up, please feel free to make your comments at any time. Okay, so let's move on to approval of the minutes. Was anybody able to read the minutes from November 10th that Kayla so kindly put together for us? That wants to put a motion together to approve those minutes?
I'm afraid I haven't read them. I'm so sorry, Lori.
I'm afraid I haven't either, and I apologize to Kayla too because
I did, but I also did it last week. Come on, people.
I know it's a crazy time of year, isn't it? Thank you.
I sit down at the meeting, just to be honest, I sit down 15 minutes advance so I can review things.
That's smart. That's really smart. Would you like to put the motion together for approving last month's minutes of November the 10th as presented? And is there a seconder? Anyone who might have
read them, so
perfect.
I'll second.
Doug will second them. And all in favor?
Yeah. Sure, if you guys
Yeah.
like them.
Okay, motion carried. I'm sorry I haven't read them, but I will read them after this meeting. Okay. Let's keep going. So, business arising from the minutes. Oh, I see. Yes. This is just a permanent fixture. Now, I know that Dan's here too. Okay, well, we'll go through the Santa float and then we'll pass it off and we'll talk to Dan about the street decor. How's that? Santa float. So this has been a permanent fixture on our minutes since March. I don't know if we've managed to move it forward, I'm afraid. Has anyone got any updates at this time? Where is the Santa float?
What's the current status?
Okay, so here, the Santa float is now at the log cabin.
Yeah, it's still there.
Because Santa was in it on the weekend.
And it looks amazing, by the way.
I don't know if you've heard from anybody that was willing to offer space. Jackie Durnford said somebody would be willing to give us space, but we'd have to fix their barn and clear the snow. So I thought we could maybe, at that point, we could find maybe a solution that would be a little bit more civic minded by using other resources other than a private location. Yeah, so we're still gonna have to work on that. I feel like I might have to actually take this on fully because I don't think we're getting anywhere.
What can we do? I feel like we still have a chance to put another ad in the Echo about it because I didn't get any response from the last one, but then I think it was maybe a little bit.
Do we think you're going to add from a second ad, like a response from a second ad?
Well, to be honest, I think Sarah and I were trying to word it very sort of gently, so not to be too direct. I don't know if you think that, Sarah, but I feel like now maybe we could be a little bit more direct about how
we're going to have to throw it out.
Well, not in those words, but you know, the fact that now we kind of are in crunch time, because I'm worried that it can't sit at the log cabin more than a week.
No, and it needs to move from the log cabin. It's ideal if it moves from the log cabin to its final destination. That would be ideal. But
How
none
did
of us
you
have
get it to the log
space.
cabin?
What's that?
How did you get it there?
On a trailer?
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's still on the trailer, so you know we can easily move it, but it needs to be stored indoors. Otherwise,
Could
it's
you
just.
pay for a storage locker? It would
I
fit
think
a storage locker.
I honestly think we might want to just look at having a storage locker. So why don't I give the people out on Edward a call, and we'll just see if we can get a storage locker there if they
It's
have
gonna
any
be like
space.
$100 a month, but I think we don't have another choice.
Yeah, and we clearly need good clean storage. So you know that wouldn't necessarily be the only item that we store there. So
True.
I will look into a storage container.
And just the costs.
The cost. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've looked into the ones on Edward Street before, and I think it's about $100 a month.
Yeah, maybe they'll have a little sympathy for Santa.
And are we allowed to approve this spend prior to our next meeting? Because we'll have to.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Kayla. We'll probably have to put a motion together to see if we can approve a spend for storage for Santa's sleigh, because at this point we can't find a volunteer to keep it. So let's approve a bit of spending for Sarah if she finds a place, or I can help her.
I mean, honestly, $1,200 is a lot for us. That's that's 5% of our budget. So I think we just have to be.
That's an event.
I was gonna say that's a Creemore night.
Yeah. Yeah. So my personal feeling is that if we have contacts, we should call people directly. I think a personal ask is going to be our best bet to find free space.
Okay, I agree with you. Call or email direct to certain people we know have big properties.
Doug, you live in the country.
Yeah, but I don't have a barn.
Okay, we'll put it in your garage, Doug. We'll be there tomorrow morning.
We'll put it in your back.
I've got a garage that I can't even get my cars into. It's full of hay for my donkey. But anyway, no. But I was wondering, do we really even need a float? Like, I mean, or a Santa float? I mean, that's $1,200 to store it if you're looking at $100 a month. Is there any way that you know? I don't know what Collingwood did, but what they have with theirs. But I'm thinking, is it just for the Santa Claus parade that you're using it?
Yes.
And like, can we rent a float, let's say from the Collingwood BIA or Wasaga Beach or somebody, or you know, for that one day?
So Doug, we put forward the idea that the municipality actually might want to put together the Santa Claus float, and it would help because I know that the other Santa Claus float, they're struggling with storage too. And we thought maybe if the municipality was able to help us, that we could share that Santa float and the municipality could play a role in providing that. So I don't know if that's something that you're willing to take to the table at the time. Lori, remind me if I'm wrong here, but they I think Doug Measures was sort of like, no, that's not going to work for us. We don't really have anywhere to store this stuff either. So this conversation is taking an awful lot of time. And
Yeah.
I mean,
But now, sorry, Doug.
No, I was going to say that why don't we do this? Okay, so Sarah, you find out, you know, about the storage and everything, and let me take it to council in January, or you know, maybe at the next meeting. Probably not for the next meeting, but the January meeting, and you know, we can sort of sit down with New Lowell, Stainer, and such, and those representatives. Maybe we can come up with something that there's only the one float between the three communities. And like, what does Stainer have their own float?
Yes.
Do they use their own?
Yes.
it's the Kinsman.
The Kinsman. And I
Yeah.
think that's what Doug Measures was speaking to too. I think he reached out to the Kinsman as well to see if we could somehow store the float or work on the float. He just came back and said that it just wasn't going to work out. So Sarah's right. We can't get anywhere on that. So you're right.
Okay.
You're right, Sarah. It's taken like 8 months and we haven't moved the needle on it. And we're exactly where we didn't want to be, where there's a float at the log cabin and we have nowhere for that thing to go except for like literally like my garden at this point, or Sarah's backyard.
Yeah, or Natalie's backyard, which is where it's actually been stored for the last year, which I didn't know that. But
Oh, I didn't know that either.
yeah, that not ideal.
No. And where's all the reindeer?
The reindeer did go back to Mr. Harper. It's just the cutter that was in Natalie's.
Okay, I did not know that either. Okay,
Oh.
so
I was just wondering too, and I might be way out of line suggesting this, but the Creemore Community Center, it's not open right now, right? It's closed due to the COVID.
right.
Do they have space in there for the float? I'm wondering, for the time being.
We need something permanent though, like, because we've been on
Well,
for so long.
yeah, no, I'm just for a few months until we can maybe find something a bit more permanent. That's all that I'm thinking. But
Kayla, do you have any recommendations for us on how we can push this forward with maybe some support from the municipality?
I would love to be of more help, but I'm really at a loss for this one. I mean, we had the mayor come in and I think he knows the community probably better than I personally do. My only other suggestion might be reaching out to Amanda Murray, but I know in previous conversations, there's always been storage issues, lack of storage in the township. So,
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, well, let's not worry about this at this table, but Lori, maybe we'll make some calls. I mean, surely somebody's got somewhere that we could put it. Marcy Stewart might be a good person. She's got a big barn. I think if we ask around to personal contacts, we may be able to find a solution.
Okay, I'm willing to take it offline with you and maybe we can talk this week about it.
and do you want me to have it put on the January 14th or the first the January council meeting, and we can hash it out at the council table, and maybe we can get some input there and bring a resolution to it at that point, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I don't mind for the council.
yes, please.
So,
The answer.
yeah, okay.
Yes, please. And
I'll
I
do
think
that.
what we'd be looking for is ideally a place to store the float, and B, if not possible, then some shared funds or funding to help us pay for storage.
Yeah, okay.
It really is a question of storage, not specific to Santa Claus Parade, but this really brings forward our issue.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
have lost all our storage. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let's put a pin on that if we can, and we'll move on if you guys don't mind.
Yep.
Street decor update. As Nancy's not here, I just mentioned earlier, Dan is here. So I was trying to get a bit more up to speed about what's going on with the street decor because I was a bit out of the loop. From what I understand, Dan, you're probably here to talk about the planters and the fact that they're inside snowbanks at the moment. So you like to sort of give us your thoughts and we'll try to see what we can do to work together?
Yes, certainly, Lori, and thank you. And you are correct. I think the last time that I sat in on one of these meetings, you were still talking about that Santa float. It was right at the beginning of COVID. So, and it always seems that I come to these and kind of have bad news for everybody here. And it's not my intention to. So I asked when I heard of the issue, to be honest with you, I didn't know the planters were there. I hadn't been in Creemore in quite some time. So staff brought it to my attention that there was potentially going to be an issue with snow removal, both because kind of in twofold. And we face this in areas all the time where the snow plow pushing the snow off the road is in conflict or fighting with the sidewalk plow, and he pushes it. They kind of battle one another and unfortunately, or where the planters are is where the snow's got to go. And if we have to do a snow removal in the downtown, I fear that those planters are just going to be destroyed, or the job that we need to do is just not going to be good enough. So I tried to handle it. I think I called you a few weeks ago, Larry, about it, and I gave Nancy a call, and we just didn't connect. And I guess Doug received a email last week, I think, to say a couple of those planters were damaged. So I asked Kayla if I could come on and just, you know, voice our concern and possibly come up with a solution on moving them in different locations, maybe reducing the amount of them. You know, I'm open to suggestions. You know, ultimately we want to be able to clean the snow properly, and not damage the planters so that they're there.
Yeah, okay, sure. I guess we hadn't realized at the time, so I guess on behalf of the decorating committee, I didn't realize that we thought we had lined them up with the trees, and we didn't think that, and we were just thinking, well, both the plows can pass, so we weren't really thinking about the potential of the big snowbanks and having them buried. So it's unfortunate because some of them did get damaged. Some snow plows took some of those planters and moved them like right across the road. So okay, so it sounds like they need to be removed, which effectively means we will not have any street decor this year. And I want everybody on the board to really understand this, because we have been, basically our hands have been tied on everything now. So I've been working on this for 2 years. We've have no possibility for any lighting. We have no possibility to put anything in the trees. And now we have no planters on the street. So I just want to be clear on that. But I agree that we have to remove them. It's unfortunate that we didn't have this conversation before we bought all the trees, because we have Christmas trees in all of them. But I agree that we have to move them. Now, the thing is, I think they need to be dug out of those snowbanks. Is your team able to do that, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think we got a pretty good stretch of weather here in the coming days, and you know, I could probably commit our staff to do them. You know, we'll probably just bring down the forks on the loader and kind of just get underneath them just to lift them up out of the snow.
Yeah, we apologize. We thought, honestly, we did think through it, and we thought it was going to be fine, and it would be, you know, you'd be able to pass. We are very concerned about being able to pass on the sidewalks. Anyway, we see the problem now, and we understand your frustration. So if we get them dug out, where do we put them?
I think that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so I think we could strategically place a few of them around. I did have a discussion at senior management team about this before I came here, and you know, tell me if I'm wrong or not, but places like brewery, they have a couple of spots that are set back in off of the sidewalk, so closer to the building, that it's not within that, I'll call it the sidewalk area. And
I've been asked to not have any benches or potted plants around because of health and safety reasons, because of the snow clearance.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So that's off the table. Do you have any other thoughts?
And then a few other places would be like the Cenotaph area, Station on the Green, kind of in off of where the sidewalk would be. You know, they'd most likely get covered in snow, depending on how much snow we get, I guess. But
yeah,
they'd be covered in snow, and then the bulk of them would be placed in behind the library somewhere, like.
Oh, I see.
Kind of not stacked, but you know, aligned.
Yeah.
In kind of where the community garden is, or the garden there.
That would work. Yeah, we could put them back there because there's 35 in total, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a lot, just in terms of having to move them, and they're full of soil, so they're going to be heavy. So you would need a machine to lift them. So that's fine. We could certainly do that, Dan. I think those are good suggestions. Here's the next part, though, just looking strategically a bit long term. So that would mean in the spring, we would have to rely on your team or Terry's team to bring them out of the library and either deliver them to our nursery to get them planted or put them back on the street. I don't know, there's various different options there, but I guess we had sort of thought we'll put them on the street and they'll be there kind of permanently. And then we were going to hire someone to plant all the flowers in the spring because the idea was they're so big and heavy. We didn't think it would be
Switch it up on.
for us to move them logistically or store them. So I guess when we bought them, actually the township bought them, thinking that we could keep them year round. So I appreciate your issues, and certainly we can't continue the way it is. So could you then commit to helping us in the spring with the spring planting around sort of April? I don't know, maybe sooner, because sometimes we have to get them up to a nursery. That's the only issue. We got to move these
It
things.
all depends on when the snow clears, right?
Totally. It's a little bit more logistics than we had considered.
Yeah. Certainly something we'll discuss. You know, I don't think it's an onerous thing for us. You know, I suspect we'll bring a trailer down. Maybe a couple guys with a loader with the forks on it.
Okay.
They'll just pluck them up, put them on a trailer, and it'll be moving back and forth.
Yeah, it's a lot for you guys, I know.
It's a lot, and it's a lot for the planters too, because you know the more you move them, the more potential they have to get damaged, right? So
yeah. And is there any opportunity to move them against the buildings? Is that just?
I guess I would say as long as there's at least 1.5 meters between the planter and the next object. So like the trees or the hydro poles, there's got to be a clear path of 1.5 meters. That's a sidewalk width.
I'm just making a note of that. I see. Okay. Yeah.
A lot of that area between Elizabeth and Caroline just doesn't allow that room there.
No. And you guys don't take the benches off the street in the winter, which could be removed as well. Because I can imagine that, because the benches are against the buildings for the most part, and you seem to manage to go around those. So I'm just wondering, you know, if we move them against the buildings, would it just be enough? And then there's not a lot of back and forth. We could actually almost permanently leave them there.
Except for the one at the brewery.
Except for the one at the brewery, which I guess needs to be completely. So does that mean even in the summer, the brewery doesn't want them?
No, he didn't. No, it's just because of the snow clearance, and we have a health and safety thing from our parking lot to our front door has to be cleared. And that's on the walkway from the parking lot.
Okay. Well,
doesn't really, it's not helpful. I know, I'm sorry.
Anyone else have any suggestions or thoughts or comments? Sorry.
Just along Caroline Street, there might be a little opportunity to put some of those planters up against the Seasons building, because we do have that depth of the boulevard there. So if that reduces kind of the workload for the municipality, and that seems like a good solution to your team, Dan, that might be somewhere. I think there's 3 benches there now, so you know, it could be quite cute to have the trees and the benches there if that is not impeding the real work of snow removal. But that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I'll go down there with Todd or Joel or senior road staff there and just take a drive through, and
yeah,
you know, maybe there are some locations where, except for the brewery, you know, push them back and see if we can get them, you know, tied up to the building and still make the path that's clear for the snow machine.
I mean, I completely understand if you want to take most of them away. I think we're all fine with that. We understand the concerns, and we don't want to make anybody, you know, we want to make sure that everyone's safe with the snow removal. So certainly we will do whatever you guys suggest. We're just trying to think if there's somewhere where we could put a few. We'd be happy to do that. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the other corner, Sarah. Well, the brewery corner, no, but my corner here at Heirloom, I guess we can't even do anything on the actual corners of the streets, right? Where the poles are. Could we put a couple around the poles? No, there's too much snow piled up there, right?
Yeah, that's probably the worst. That's probably the worst spot for.
Okay, because you guys put
snow piling up.
Okay.
And that's what you want to clear. You want to clear that off the most for sight lines and.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay, well, if you guys see a stretch that is clear sailing in terms of weather, and hopefully they're not too iced in there, certainly we would just ask your teams if they could be as gentle as possible, because they are brand we spent years, working on this project, and we're so happy with them. So if they know that they are like a resin plastic, so they will sort of puncture fairly easily. So if they
And that may be a deciding factor too. Like you said, if they are iced in by now, maybe there's not a whole lot we can do. Maybe when it does come time to, if we get a thaw of some sort, we'll have to just play it by ear. If the machines aren't going to take them out of there without causing really big damage, we'll have to leave them in there, and then perhaps the shop owners can help out to, when we do need to do a snow removal, there's going to be a lot of handwork, so shop owners can dig around them and throw the snow out onto the road. Well, just spitballing, just trying to think out loud, really.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Well, if you want to come down this week, it's just really hard for us to help you out right now at Christmas. I know you tried to call me today, and I was sort of alone in the store with customers. I couldn't really talk. So it's really hard sometimes for some of us that are on the shop floor to get away while it's so busy. But yeah, if you have ideas, we'll certainly work with you guys, because we understand the issues and we're happy to do that. And I'm sorry that we didn't connect sooner. We honestly thought it was okay. So we apologize. That's just lack of experience with these new planters. We've had planters for the last 4 years, as long as I've been working on these committees. They've been a lot smaller, and we've always put them against the buildings, and nobody from township ever complained about planters all winter. So we've been doing this with Christmas trees for years now. And that's, I think, why we just thought we would continue. So I realized the planters are a lot bigger this year, and I guess that was an oversight on our part.
We also did move the planters annually. Like, that was something that we as volunteers did. We took those planters and we put them over by the county yard, like in the county yard, or at the back of the fire hall, I think. So yeah, they were moved annually off the street to accommodate snow removal.
Right. But then the black ones for the last 2 years have had trees in them, because
the small black ones. Yeah.
But they were a lot smaller. So that's where we sort of went wrong. Okay. Well, how do we leave this?
I think that's our stance with the few benches. They're somewhat narrow, and you can kind of maneuver around them, and they are against the wall, so it's more of the shopkeepers who would clean them off and shovel around them.
Yeah.
It's that center boulevard area between the hydro poles and the trees that really needs to get cleaned up during a snow lift, right? So
I understand. Okay, so do we leave it in your hands, and you'll just sort of shoot us an email if you have a chance to come and look around, and if they're iced up, or if you think you can get some of them out or something, just kind of give us an update, and we're happy to help you in any way we can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll early next week I'll give you an update on what we found and how we're gonna handle it, and we'll come up with a plan.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate you being so helpful with us. Sorry about this.
Sorry.
No worries. If you don't need me anymore, I'll sign off.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Have a great evening. Okay. Bye now. All right, guys. So that's the street decor. So just so you know, new street decor.
Well, it looked really cute for the Santa Claus parade, and for that week, it looked pretty magical. So thank you. That was cute.
Yeah. So that was good. Luckily, a lot of the stores do some really nice decor this year, and we're going to lean on the stores a little bit more, I think, in the future to decorate the street.
Maybe that's what we do going forward, is we actually just basically provide a grant. So, we're going to buy, like you ordered garland, and I think we have to maybe move to that model, and then participators end up looking awesome and saving money that they would normally spend themselves, and people who don't want to participate don't have the benefit. So
we risk the look of it.
No, I think we can make it consistent, and people can buy a package, right? Like, you buy like 75 feet of this, and here's the bows, and here it's all thought out for you. Here's how you can customize it for your business. And, I think we can provide that. And then if they say, yep, I'm going to check these lists. Yeah, I'm going to do my white lights. I'm going to do a customized bow. I'm going to do this. They sign off that they're going to do it. And then we drop off, like we can,
November 10th or something, we just drop off the roll of garland and the roll and
The nice thing about the trees is that they carried it through the winter.
yeah, they did. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us leave our lights up most of the winter, don't we?
Well, yeah, white lights is, if anybody can do it, is very helpful.
Yeah. I think you're right, Sarah. I'm gonna do this a bit more because after 2 years of trying to get this sorted out, it's just we're hitting a wall and we can't keep going like this. So we have to figure out something else.
and it's just simply too much work for just a couple people to manage. I think that we need the buy-in, and I also think it'll be a team building exercise. I think people will appreciate the support of their efforts more than they might recognize the efforts of others.
That's a good idea. Yep, that's a good point. So we'll probably look at doing that for 2021. I think at this point, we've spent our budget on the trees. So I
Yeah,
think
there's
we're
nothing
kinda,
happening.
unfortunately, we're kind of done. Okay, so that's the street decor. Okay, so let's get into events, if that's okay. Sarah, do you want to give us a bit of an update on the Santa? I don't know if you were
Yeah.
really involved in the tree lighting
Okay,
or...
so
Go ahead.
yeah, so our Christmas celebrations kind of officially what we promoted were the shopping day on November 21st. Then we promoted the light. We helped promote the tree lighting while the Tree Society did that. And then we promoted and implemented the stationary parade. So I wasn't out on this for any of that because I'm a retailer now.
Yep.
So I have no idea, but I hear that there were over 200 people that went to see Santa. So to my mind, that shows the level of engagement. I think I will put together one of, how we were sending out those surveys a couple of years back. I think I'm going to put together the same survey, sort of asking how people felt about it and get their feedback on it. I mean, clearly we're hoping that we'll never have to repeat the events as implemented this year, but I think it's our opportunity to kind of talk to our members, make sure they understood why we did what we did and see if it worked. So yeah, so I mean, you guys can maybe give me some feedback. Natalie was happy to implement. She did sort of the work on just the admin and getting people signed up. And then I worked with her on the promo stuff. And then all the rest of it with the community members just stepping up and doing their work. So
Sarah,
I hope,
congratulations and thank you. You shouldered most of these Christmas events, and I can't thank you enough at a time when a lot of us were just Nancy and I both having new stores, just kind of lost the plot. Well, Nancy hasn't got a new store, but her renovation, I suppose I should say. And I know Heather's been really busy as well. And so I know you put together all of this at a really busy time of year. So we can't thank you enough for all the work you and your team did, your whole crew. And I know Trina and Natalie and everybody at the Echo was really involved in some way. And it was awesome.
It was a very good day.
Great feedback. I mean, people were coming in the store and there was a festive atmosphere in town.
People were happy.
I didn't go out at all. The only time I went was when I ran from between my two stores to pick something up. And I saw
I was on the street for 4 hours.
Great.
It was nice.
Yeah. People
I was
happy.
waving on my float.
People were happy. Amanda sent some lovely pictures. Joey, our Instagram guy, took some amazing pictures that he put on Instagram as well, just sort of showing our community spirit and our community celebration and being all about community. So that's great. I think people were really happy. And I felt like it was a real community event, like the local community came out. I don't think it was something that I didn't get the sense anyway that people were coming from other regions. I don't know about you, Heather, what's up?
Well, I didn't know until my friends who live in Peel said, oh my goodness, our friends went to the brewery and they had such a delight. There was a surprise, there was a parade and they had such a good day. And I'm like, oh God. Thanks for coming.
I received some feedback from just citizens of Creemore on the street asking us to stop doing events. And I was very clear that while we are not doing events, We are still continuing with the traditions of the community, so not to let them drop at a very important time of year for families. And that we were
We're
doing
not doing a lot of promotion.
we didn't do, and Sarah very wisely, and also with cooperation with me, took the very wise decision that we weren't going to do any promotion outside of the Echo. So we decided the Echo was the most widely read in the community, but not really much outside our catchment area, and that would be our main promotion. We didn't do radio, we didn't do anything else.
What we have is a community that's a day trip. It's a beautiful place to visit on a day trip. And the people who are on lockdown in the city, they're coming up, and it's a destination whether there's a pandemic or not. So we are getting day trippers, whether we advertise or not, and it's up to us how we manage them. I mean, I saw mostly people I recognize on the street on Saturday. The week before, or the 28th, we had a wicked day in retail. They weren't local.
Exactly.
That wasn't a lot of promotion either. Like we're not, it's not huge. So this is our community is somewhere that people want to visit regardless of us promoting it or not.
I don't think our events are attracting people. I think people are coming regardless.
Our events were surprising people who showed up anyways.
And delighting people that are showing up. And like you said, Heather, it is up to the individual businesses and the individuals visiting and our community to stay safe. So we can only do so much in that regard. Yeah, that's.
And I know that Doug Measure sent some information this week after we had some various emails back and forth about the orange restrictions and the Simcoe Public Health Unit and all that's going on there. And I know us as just a team here of just a small store, but we got all of our staff to read all of that and to sign the paper that they'd read it and to really go through it with them and make sure that they understood all the various different public health recommendations for the orange sort of zone. And so I know Sarah and others were sort of chatting on our Facebook group this week about making sure that the stores really understand. And from what I can tell, people take it really seriously. Talking to the restaurants, I know they're really concerned. You know, we've talked enough amongst each other and the other businesses that I can see that businesses are taking things very seriously. I would actually argue that businesses on this street take the COVID restrictions more seriously than a lot of the big box stores in the Barrie area or anywhere around us. I see these guys limiting people, making people hand sanitize, masks, you know, making sure
not opening at all.
Not opening. No, seriously. I mean, you go into a big box store and there's not as many restrictions as some of us have in tiny stores of less than 1,000 square feet. So I feel fairly confident that most of the businesses here are taking things very seriously. I haven't had any complaints from anybody, certainly from customers or others that say they feel unsafe in this town in terms of the businesses. Doug, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just as the council rep, just what is your what's the position of the BIA on the out-of-town visitors? Are you going to then just let the individual businesses decide how they want to handle it? The only reason why I ask is we've only had one, I believe we've only had one complaint. Certainly it's come across my email, and that was from a fellow and I think he lives near Creemore. He was concerned about, I think he was at Foodland, and he said all the number of, people in there from out of town, it was really a concern and everything. And so anyway, my response back to him was, I said, look, I'm as the council rep for the BIA, I said, I don't know what your position is yet as far as the BIA goes, but my position is to let each of the businesses determine themselves how they want to handle it. And I also told the guy, I said, a lot of these businesses are struggling. They're just trying to make money right now. And it's pretty hard to turn away business, like someone, let's say they come from Peel or Toronto, like if someone wants to turn them away, that's fine. But it's pretty tough to, when you're struggling to make money at this time. So anyway, so that's your position as a BIA, is that you're just going to let each of the individual businesses decide? No?
I think our position is that our businesses follow the recommendations of public health. That is our position. It is not about each one of us deciding. Each one of us is complying to what public health is telling us to do.
Thank you, Sarah.
We are not making our own decisions about how we manage this.
No, that's not what I'm like. But yeah, I mean, you're complying with the public health, but you're not. If one of your businesses on the B in on Mill Street there says, "Look, I'm going to ask everybody when they come in where they're from, and if they're not local, I'm going to turn them away." Like I know there's a restaurant in Collingwood that's doing that. I mean, would you have a problem with that if that business decided to do that on their
Well, the
own?
pub
or-
does it.
I
Yeah,
don't
you turn them away if they're not local. Oh, sorry, the pub. Okay.
I'd
Oh,
rather
good.
not
I
call
didn't.
out certain businesses because this is a recorded call, but
Yeah.
certainly every business, you know, they can make that decision. I don't think we're in a position as the BIA because things that are right for some businesses due to their space, due to their staffing, due to like lots of variables, they follow those recommendations to the best of their knowledge. And if they decide to restrict certain municipalities or postal codes or whatever it is, I think that's up to them. I think we're not going to take, I don't think as volunteers, it's our job to take a position specifically other than to follow the public health guidelines. And as long as the public health guidelines in Simcoe County are followed in terms of the orange zone recommendations, I think from there, I'm not going to tell various different restaurants or various different stores whether they have to limit or not. Like you said, Doug, I think it's up to them. I don't think we're in a position to do that as a town. I don't see other towns. I don't see Collingwood doing that or Stayner. And I think, yes, there are some instances of businesses that have decided to do that for their own personal health or the
Yes.
health of their employees. That's up to them. And
Yeah.
I respect it. I respect both sides. So I'm not gonna, I don't know. I think you guys feel the same, Heather and Sarah. I see you shaking your heads.
No, I think so. And
yeah.
we have kept our doors closed, not because public health said we have to, but that's what our business has chose to do.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And we just hope that, we just hope that that's what people are doing. I think everybody should be following public health regardless. So I think that's just the blanket.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, there was somebody that, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I went to Stayner Rental today, and there's this big sign out front saying, you know, if you've been out of the country anytime in the last 30 days, don't come in. And I'm thinking, can they stop me? You know, like I didn't see that written somewhere else, but I thought, well, it's his business. He can do what he wants. He can, you know, he can stop anybody from coming in. So, but anyway.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say?
Yeah. But
in terms of people
okay,
coming
well,
out of town, I mean, if they're not following the guidelines of Toronto Repeal and that they've been asked not to travel outside of their zone, I'm not here to police it. I'm not the police, you know.
No.
So, like I said, each business has to do their part and then do the best they can to mitigate the risk to the community. And that's the best I think we can do as a BIA is to support them either way, as long as they follow the guidelines.
And maybe that
you get into a problem.
Oh.
So yeah, I was just going to say, get into a problem. Sometimes we get some people that I don't know. They've got some opinions that you know, out of towners shouldn't be here, and they say, and I say, well, how do you know they're from out of town? They say, well, I look at their license plate. It's an out of town thing, you know, surrounding their license plate. I bought my car in Richmond Hill. It says Richmond Hill Subaru around my license plate. I've lived here all my life, but I bought my car in Richmond Hill.
Yeah.
So, you know, like somebody could say I'm from, they could easily interpret that as being from out of town. So anyway,
that's the
okay, well, that's good.
I think that's the danger, is looking at license plates, you know, things like that. I have a 416 cell phone number, you know, all these kinds of things, like, you know, you can interpret in different ways and it's not fair. And there's a lot of members of our community that moved up here 8 months ago and are still living here, you know, people that may have lived in the city prior and they decided they feel safer here and they enjoy being up in their second home perhaps, and they've been living here and haven't left in 8 months. So there's several of those. So, you know, it's really hard. It's a really hard thing to do. And I think, you know, as long as we're trying our very best to be safe, that's what we can offer. Sarah, you had a point.
Okay.
I think that if there is a real concern in the community regarding people coming from outside of the area, from lockdown zones to this zone, that should be talked about at the municipal level, and the municipality is going to have to assign some some resources there, because I really do not believe that the businesses are in a position to be the frontline workers in terms of making sure that people
Yeah.
that should not be here are not here. I just don't think that that's right. I don't think that we have the professional skills to do that. I don't think we have any of the bandwidth. So I think that I would hope that council's going to have that conversation, because it could be important to us. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe this vaccine is going to come fast and hard, and we're going to be happier before we know it. But I really think that council should look at that and not put the weight on the business owners.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not going to put that in front of council, because I don't think the municipality has the capability to monitor it or to enforce it anyway. And all I was getting at was, there is that one business in Collingwood and that restaurant, and they're checking people's identification, and you have to show that you live locally before you can go in. I'm thinking, fine, that's up to the business to do that. It's not something that the town of Collingwood is mandating, and I don't think we as a municipality of Clearview can mandate that. But if a business in Creemore wants to do it, then that's fine. That's entirely up to them. Same as at Stainer Rental, it's entirely up to them. If they want to stop someone from going in that's been out of the country in the last 30 days, then that's their prerogative. It's their business. So anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like we're all on the same page there.
Yeah.
But back to events.
Oh, yeah.
So we've tried to create these events based on tradition that are super easy to physically distance and entirely outside. So we have done that. And then going to the loose end still on the Santa Claus parade remains cleanup and the float, obviously. And then we have a few prizes to award for people that are using the hashtag Creemore Loves Christmas. So we will get those selected and published this week.
Is that you're going to do the Santa Claus parade team is going to look after that?
Yeah, so we'll get that done unless you guys want to take an active role in selecting some of the winners.
Happy for you to do it.
Okay, I know. Shucks, I was hoping you would. So that's what's left there. So we'll send out the survey. We'll promote the winners, and then we will continue with the shopping promotion. So the ballots, we can continue to gather those with the winners being selected on the 18th. And I think Lori and the marketing committee had some opinions on how we were going to promote that for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So we can touch base on that. But I think that we have managed, I think we've kind of done what we set out to do in terms of the events. And as I keep saying, and I say this completely kind of with the ultimate black humor, but the pandemic has been very kind to our businesses and with people coming. And I hope that everybody's able to stay safe, even with the increased traffic and volume.
Exactly.
So that's it for Santa Claus parade and the rest of December.
Just a quick question on that. You probably haven't had a chance because just a couple days ago, but do we have any sense of budget for the Santa Claus parade? Did you go over the budget? Do you feel like you're within the budget that we had approved the previous meeting? Sorry.
We're well under the budget. I think we spent $700 and some odd promoting. I think we spent another $75 decorating, and then we're spending $225 for prizing. So that's well below the $2,000 that we had budgeted. So there's no concern there. And wrapped up within that, we've also, that includes all of the promotion for the other activities as well.
Right.
So I feel like we've put a lot of bang for our buck. One thing that hasn't been fully tallied is like I continue to run off ballots and that sort of stuff. So there's a few small expenses, but we are well under 2,000 for Christmas in its entirety, including the shopping and everything. So there's no concerns with the budget.
That's amazing. Great. So, and it looked beautiful. The Santa float in front of the log cabin. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go over there, but the photos coming out of that were incredible. I don't know who staged it, but you guys did a beautiful job.
So that was Natalie and Darcy Q. Darcy and Natalie put a ton of effort into that. And And I think what we'll do this week is take out a big thank you. I'm now declaring a pecuniary interest, but it has been the tradition to take out a thank you and acknowledge some of the extraordinary efforts. But that is kind of part of what we usually do, and
Yes.
well within the marketing budget if I am so directed by somebody who doesn't have a pecuniary interest.
Of course, yeah, we
So,
won't be directing that from marketing or even from the Santa Claus Parade budget.
Yeah,
It's-
so,
like-
I'll talk to Lori and let her make that decision as part of the marketing committee. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah.
That's huge. The last event of the year. Well
Yeah.
done.
Last event of it, the only events of the year. That's not true. We had the sidewalk sale.
And I think we had some sort of Easter. Or did we?
Oh, that's
We canceled it.
No, we canceled. That was early on.
Okay. All right. Shall we move off the events now? Or is there anything else anyone else to add about events at the moment? I think we're evented out. Okay. So public participation, I'm going to skip through that unless Kayla's received any emails that she wants to read out.
I've not received anything.
Okay. So financial
As per
report.
norm.
Back over to Sarah.
Oh boy, guys, I am paying the bills as they come in, but I must admit that I have got a lot of work to do to pull everything together for the year end. I have not been as.
You need just to hire someone to help you out, like an accountant.
It's not a big deal. It's just a matter of scanning all the invoices and sending it to the municipality. They do the lion's share of it. They're awesome that way. So, and there were not very many transactions this year, so I just have to spend probably an hour or two getting that done. But we're well under budget. We didn't do most of our activities, and I guess in January we can sit down and talk about what next year looks like. Again, with just kind of a skeleton. We'll go through that. But
So I think this is probably the place where you want to call anybody who has existing outstanding expenses from any of the past events this year. That would be me. You're asking.
Good. Okay, yeah. Sorry, Lori. Thank
I
you.
have a couple of social media things that we had done way back when in the summer that are still on my credit card that I just need to pass along, and there's something else.
Is there checks for me to sign? I'll for sure be available on Friday if I need anything to sign.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm also looking for something from Kathy Weber, all of that. So anything from the marketing committee, yeah. So excellent, Lori. And I might actually just put, just for safety's sake, I might just post that to our group. Although I don't think there's anybody in our group other than you and Nancy that would have expenses. Maybe Darcy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll check in and see and get everybody's expenses.
I imagine you want those all tied up by the end of December, at least have them, right? So that we can have a chance to reconcile it in January. Okay, perfect. So I'll try and get those over to you. Also the website. So that ties into marketing, but if you're done, Sarah, is there anything else you'd like to add for financials?
No, I think as always, we're in good shape. We have lots of money in the bank. We have sold our first key to the garbage. Hey. So Ota has taken.
Oh yeah, he called me and asked me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have done that, and that was a nice little revenue source. So.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, here was one idea. It might be late to implement, but we could implement it fairly quickly if we wanted to, which was a BIA gift card. People could buy a gift certificate at the Echo. It would be BIA branded, and our members could just redeem it through the same way that we did when we had the gift certificates for the pricing for a giveaway. And I don't know what you guys think about that idea, but I've had several people who wanted to give people the opportunity to shop downtown in a place that wasn't necessarily predetermined. I don't think it's an onerous task. It might be a little late for this year, but if we think that there is value to the community as a whole in providing a specific BIA gift card, it could be done. It could market really well, I think. And all it would require is just a little bit of education to our members, which is not complicated,
Right.
and printing a few gift certificates, and then, you know, just regular bookkeeping. So I don't think it would be hard, but I would want feedback from you guys.
Would you design? Would you be able to design something at the Echo?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
good.
we could design and print them and everything. It wouldn't take long. And then maybe if we see that there's an interest in it this year, again, I apologize that this is late, but we could look into something more sophisticated for next year. But for this year, it you know, a simple paper gift certificate is what a lot of our members are already using. And then if we just put clear instructions on redemption right on this certificate, I don't think we'll have any difficulty at all.
So they would buy it from the Echo. They would buy it basically.
Buy it from the BIA at the Echo.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
could use a credit card or something, I guess, at your place. And then you see what I'm thinking? Like, it's like, then you're going to have to take, this is always the awkward part of this, is the payment. Because other than cash, if somebody comes with a debit or a credit, which quite honestly is 90% of the transactions, right? Are you comfortable taking that with your business? Because now you've got to reconcile situation for your bookkeeping.
That is where we struggle, is our ability to collect money. We can't even take e-transfers effectively. So, and PayPal, we've been advised against. I think we did talk about using something like a Square system, because it isn't actually a bank account, it's a clearinghouse. So that would be one thing we could do. But okay, so maybe this is more complicated, but we have talked about the use of Square or something that is a direct deposit. I remember talking to Edward Henley about that.
Yeah, me too, me too.
And maybe that's something that we need to bring up again with the new treasurer, and just see if there is a way, if it's auto deposit without any possibility of any individual accessing the money, if we could have one of these systems. It's we can't function without it anymore. It just doesn't work.
The other option is, you know, with Kathy Weber and our website, is that you just purchase the gift certificate directly online. Again, we'd have to work out the back end integration into probably a Clearview account somehow, or BIA account, I don't know, where they could use maybe PayPal, or, oh no, you can't use PayPal with the township. Well,
We can't use PayPal, but we could maybe use Square.
or just credit card, right? Because if there's a back end, I mean, I'm pretty sure that with our WordPress, the way we designed it, we designed something that in the future we would be able to purchase on our website, and we could have a plugin that we could just add to it to have any sort of purchases. Because I envisioned ideas where we might do fundraising, or we might do, you know, various different things through our website in the future. So there is the possibility to add that in.
The issue,
It's the back end integration with the township money. It's the money part.
it's the money part, because the issue is currently the only way for us to receive money electronically is if we go through a very complicated process of direct deposit to the municipality.
Yeah, so maybe that's something that we can sit down with. I think her name is Kelly McDonald, the CFO, who I've had some contact with. She's lovely. And see if we can't maybe have a Zoom with her or something, and just talk about what are the options if we want to have something. Because I imagine in the future we might want to sell tickets to a BIA event, you know, or maybe we want to, I mean, Natalie last year suggested we sell toques to fundraise for the Santa Claus parade or something like that. And ideally, I mean, it's lovely that the Echo, you know, offers this service. And I think maybe that's something that we can certainly look at. But I think ideally we'd like to funnel it through our website, so that the township could have access to see, you know, what we're doing. There's no worry about conflict of interest or money moving hands between somebody's personal business account and the township account. You know, it gets very, very awkward very fast, and it puts the onus on you to have to sort of balance that budget and that money.
Currently, the only way I accept payment for the BIA is cash or check. I won't take any other form, and I prefer check because it's just easier that way.
Right.
Okay, so this becomes complicated because of our inability to move money effectively, and we need to sort that out. So let's get that on our kind of to-do list, that we're going to look at that.
Yeah.
Why don't you just put it right underneath Santa Claus parade float, and then we'll be sure to talk about it ad nauseum for at least a year.
At least 8 meetings before we do anything.
Oh, Lord help me. I hope somebody watches this one. It's pure comedic gold. Comedic gold here.
I bet I just look progressively worse and worse as the meeting goes on.
I think we should produce our own TV show that's just like Zoom, bad Zoom meetings.
Where's the hair and makeup
Oh my
people?
God.
They need to come in some point. Okay. So, okay. So that's great, Sarah. Thanks so much.
Okay, forget about it.
Well,
Next
I really think it's a good idea. I just don't know how feasible it is. A lot of people aren't handling cash right now. And I
You're
don't know
right.
if it's checks other than me. So
I know. I know.
let's put a pin in it though and say it's a possibility if we can work out the logistics. I think it's a great idea and it's a fabulous way to help the businesses.
And also, the majority of people never, like a lot of people never redeem gift cards. So it's also kind of, I mean, it sits there still as.
Yeah, possibly. But it's a
kind of
liability on your, you have to keep it as a, I think as a
Yeah,
liability.
you still have to keep it in the books as a liability, but
Yeah.
but it's nice in your bank account.
Okay, let's move on to, okay, marketing update. That was me. Okay, sorry. So the website is live.
No.
Come on.
So if you go to experience, oh my goodness, Sarah's going to look at it now. I'm going to be worried.
Me too.
Oh, it's awesome.
Creemore.com. That is our new website, experiencecreemore.com.
Small town, big heart.
It's
What's it? Sorry, Lori, what is it?
experience,
What's the website?
sorry,
Oh,
experience.
experience.
.com. So Kathy just put it up. I admit I haven't gone over it with a fine-tooth comb. I know there's changes that probably have to be made from an admin standpoint. We tried to get it up. I give Kathy a lot of credit for this because of the last month or so, I've been so busy. I've hardly given her any direction and she's done a lot of it on her own. So we talked months ago and she's just been plugging away at it. Joey did a lot of our photos. So a lot of our photos are original to us and have been done recently. Which is great. He's gone into all of our businesses and taken little vignettes. Now I know there might be one or two outstanding that for whatever reason he couldn't get in touch with the business owner. So I know there's some things that will have to change, but we tried to get it up as fast as we could so that we'd have something, at least something, because I know the last one was so outdated and we're going to have to work on experiences and all these things because I realize there's some things that have to move around. But anyway, the bones are there and it's something and it's a place to drive people now for information. And now we can populate it with lots and lots more information going forward. So that's great news. We haven't done a big launch of it because I know I wanted to get it kind of perfect before we sort of told too many people about it.
Do you want us to look through it or?
Yeah, I mean, we should all maybe do that and just sort of see.
Yeah, because I see something like we're not actually the small town big heart. We're the little village with the big heart.
Oh, yeah.
That's
So little things like that are not, yeah.
Yeah, that's important to people.
Yeah, and again, I haven't gone through it myself with a fine-tooth comb. So yeah, those details are important to get them right. And it's always the details, right? So yeah, but anyway, the bones are up. We just, what we wanted to do was we wanted to migrate it onto new servers. And that's where I had to put all the hosting on my credit card because they only accept credit cards for hosting services. And we changed our host this year to something that Kathy Weber uses and trusts, like a big company. So lots of backup, lots of that kind of thing, and lots of security and safety. So it's all on my credit card. So that's the only thing is like, I'm going to have to bill. That's one of the standing invoices. And then we also have to pay Kathy, I think the final payment for the design. But the nice thing is Kathy's going to be maintaining it as we go. So probably on a monthly or quarterly basis, we're going to be able to give her some updates and she's going to be able to update events. She's going to be able to add new things and all that sort of thing. So that's great news.
So will it only be Kathy who can update?
No, I've asked her if we can have an admin.
Events or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, so I've asked, she's creating an admin for me. In fact, she might have in the last couple of days and I just haven't had a chance to look at it in my email. But she said a couple of days ago that she'd create another admin at least for me. And if you would like one as well, you're welcome to have one. Yeah. So that's one big project that got finished.
Yay!
Our social, yeah, that was an exciting one. Our social media continues to do well. Where every day we get more and more people that are sort of jumping on board the Instagram boat, and our Instagram is just I think it's doing great. There's lots of
I
engagement.
think, I
lots of
agree, it's
people.
done well. I see
many-
it all the time. They're picking up everybody else's posts and sharing them. I see they're sharing Clearview stuff and our stuff and your stuff, and I think it's good. We
Yeah.
look like we're happy, we look like we're an active community.
Yeah, I
Not
know.
necessarily attracting volume, but we are an active community.
Correct. You're right. So we're really pleased with the way Joey's handling the Instagram. I can tell you that people put concerns or questions up, and within an hour, he's on it. Messages if they private message us. So he is on it all the time, and it's amazing. He must just have like his phone literally on him all the time.
He must be under 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Millennials, those millennials.
Yeah,
He
he's
might
a,
even be younger than that. He might even be a Gen whatever.
and some questions. And if he has questions, he's been awesome, because if something comes up and we get a negative comment or we get, some feedback that isn't so, wonderful, he alerts me to it right away so that we can choose how we want to deal with it. And for the most part, we just leave it up, but want to make sure that he's on it and he's notifying me so that if there's anything that comes up or anybody that complains, I'm on it in hours. So that's good. Okay, so I think that's all I have for marketing. Now I'm going to turn to Heather. Sorry.
Those billboards, is that marketing?
Yeah, this is you. Yeah, sorry, that
Oh.
was my bit about the website. Now it's your turn for the billboards.
So the south entrance to Creemore off of Airport Road, we have that group of billboards that I'm pretty sure every single one of them are out of date.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't know who owned these billboards, but I do now. And I reached out, so it's the Gordon's property, Cindy Gordon.
Right.
And I went and had a chat with her, and I said, we would definitely like to update our billboard that just basically our billboard has the arrow to Creemore.
Yeah.
And then there's a Mad and Noisy gallery, and there's a Sovereign up there as well. So I know they haven't been paying attention to that, spending any time on that corner right now, but I think I might have kind of got a jump start on it. And I said that I would, talk to the BIA and just say that potentially that there's some space that we can maybe update the other boards if we want to. So we're going to freshen up the Creemore one. I think I might even, there's a light that needs to be fixed. She said there too. So I'm trying to sort of, I'll see, I might even buy a light. I don't know. I don't know what those things are, but I just wanted to bring it to the BIA saying Cindy has these, this space. I think she's got to talk with the family and then figure out what they're going to do as far as billing and such. But I know that we are going to resurface our board that's down there. And then just thought there might be some opportunity if we want to ask if we can use another board that's out of the Mad and Noisy one, for instance.
And the Sovereign to some extent. I mean, it's no longer called the Sovereign.
Yeah, so I don't know if they want to put, if they want to sell them all or what, but I thought I can at least maybe start the conversation with her and help them or encourage or give them some interest in revitalizing that little section there.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea because we have the one further south that's the makers, merchants, and something. And this one might be a good one that says, welcome to downtown Creemore or Little Village, Big Heart, or one of these types of things. And again, just reiterating sort of the Creemore welcome type thing to all downtown businesses.
Would you like me to, is there any interest in me asking about a fee or availability to take over another?
Definitely, if you could, yeah.
And I can bring to the meeting or to bring to the group the cost on that?
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be wonderful. I think it's worthwhile because one of the biggest complaints we get is that wayfinding signs into Creemore are always missed and that there should be more of them.
Yeah,
So.
and we can't, the cash town's tricky.
Yeah.
And you're certain that land is Gordon land?
Yeah.
Cindy told me it was.
She told me that before too. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Did you think it was somebody else's?
I thought Lime Guard owns some, and then I thought the Coats owned. Anyway,
Yeah, you're right. It could be on the corner there. Yeah.
no,
She's
but if she said it's hers, it's. I mean, I'm sure she knows.
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. So yeah, Heather, if you can find out more about whether it would be nice if we could take down all the signs that are no longer applicable and then offer up something that looks really good with the brewery sign that we can have like a sort of downtown businesses.
Yeah, the brewery has 3 already leading up from 89 and I don't
Yeah.
know. There's 3 coming up Airport Road.
You had 3.
Yeah, there's 3 billboards. We get those from Dimitrov. There's that one there that just basically doesn't say anything. It says there's an arrow and then bottom underneath it, it says tours, tastings and whatever. So I think the arrow should come from a village board or whatnot, you know, and we can still be part of it. We could still, and I know Pizza Company, PizzaCo, they asked me about it once and I didn't have the answer. I said, I have no paperwork on this. I didn't know. She did have some interest in that section as well.
I think that the worry I have though is that how do we make it equitable and fair? I guess everybody could get their own sign out there, but then it's going to get very cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
In a way. That's why I think the BIA should just represent everybody at the same time and try and put like a welcome to downtown Creemore or our businesses welcome you or something along those lines that just makes it a bit more generic. Because if we have, I just wouldn't like to see about 25 different small billboards, everybody saying, you know, pizza, shopping at Heirloom, you know, all these kinds of things that could be very, very cluttered. So.
I think there's only 3. There's Sovereign and Matanoisy. Oh, I have a picture of it right here.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And the old mill house too has one.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah.
I just took a picture. Well, I got somebody from work to take a picture of it yesterday.
I guess anybody can put signs anywhere they want, really. We can't really stop them.
Oh, there's only 3. Creemore, Matanoisy, Sovereign.
Oh, what happened to the old mill house?
Is it further south?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I guess it is. Oh, that spot. Yeah. Okay.
It's where you do the turnoff into the south entrance.
Entrance, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Heather, come back to us if you don't mind. And I think that would be something the BIA should spend some money on.
Yes. So I know that I have budget to put towards a space too, but I think if we do it like all collaborative and we can do something fun down there.
And that they look good together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be great. Thanks for that. So that'll be a project for the new year. Okay, wonderful. Thanks for that. Anybody have anything else about the billboards?
I do. Well, not about the billboards, no.
Oh, okay.
No, no. Before we sign off, I want to go back to the Santa float. Seriously.
You want to go back to the what?
No, seriously.
Santa float.
To the Santa float before we close. Under unfinished.
He's been thinking this whole hour.
Okay.
I have been.
Just one more thing I wanted to mention. So Creemore, okay, so the BIA is collaborating with the Creemore Community Foundation on a project where they're looking to understand more about the future vision of Creemore and the sustainability of the downtown and how we can make sure that our downtown, you know, has a great, strong arts and heritage culture, and also that we're able to sustain the economic vitality of the businesses of the downtown. And so they engaged with a company called Small, which is part of ERA Architects, who helped us, Sarah knows them very well, from when we did the Station on the Green project with the public, the Village Green. And so they've been engaged and they're working with a group of people, of which I'm sitting on the committee there, to represent the BIA and to represent the interests of business. But they're really trying to understand more about the community and where we see ourselves in the next few years and how we can help make sure that we have the economic sustainability to continue in the vein that we'd like to continue, and make sure that any investments that the Creemore Community Foundation makes in the future are really, you know, basically coming from the ground up, from what the community really feels is important. So part of what they're doing is they've done a series of roundtables. There was a roundtable for the business community. There was a roundtable for the farming and agriculture community. There was a roundtable for young families and people involved in sort of hockey and sports and town recreation. And there was also a roundtable on arts and culture and heritage. So all of those roundtables were asked very similar questions about how you see arts and heritage in the town and what are our challenges, what are the positive points about the village. And so that was fantastic. But what's really come out is that we really need to survey all of the members of the community to get more of a sense of how people feel about the community, what their ideas are, how they see the community moving forward. And so what we're putting together is a survey. It's going to be basically multiple choice, but with lots of chance to kind of write in some comments. So we're putting together a survey for community-wide for everybody in the whole town, whether you're a resident or a part-time resident or a business, you know, farmer, it doesn't really matter. And we're trying to gather all this consensus so we really get a good sense of what's going on in the community, how people feel, their ideas, what they want to see in their community in the future, what's going to make their community even stronger. So what that means is that this week they're trying to put that survey in the Echo. I think Sarah's been talking to Small, I'm assuming, Sarah, about putting the survey in the Echo. So I just wanted to draw your attention to it and make sure that you have a chance to read it through and do the survey, because it's going to be really important to gather all this data, because there was sort of some of these projects done about 20 years ago. And it's good to kind of do this again so that we start to shape our vision. Because as the community starts to grow and we get new developments and we get new buildings and lots of different people from different places, it's good that we have a really strong strategy on how we want to move the village forward and how we see ourselves growing, and so that we're all kind of going in the same direction. And so I just wanted to let you know about the survey coming up, that you'll see it, I think, this week in the Echo. I don't know, Sarah, if you've received it already.
I haven't seen the survey, but yeah, I've been talking to them
working
about
on a deadline tomorrow. I know tomorrow is the deadline.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really important that everybody takes a few minutes and tries to really give us their honest opinion about what they think are the pitfalls in Creemore and what are the good points, and you know, how we can sort of sustain the community, how we can grow it, what they'd like to see in the future, what they don't want to see anymore. So it's a really good opportunity for us to get a ton of information, both for the BIA, but for the community at large as well. So just wanted to draw your attention to that. That's coming up. And that's kind of all I had in terms of marketing. So I'm going to go into, if you guys have no questions for marketing. No. So I'm going to go into new business, unfinished business. Sorry, I don't know what time it is. And I know Doug would like to talk about unfinished business, perhaps. Doug, take it away.
He found a barn
no,
in
I
his
just
backyard.
I think I need Kayla's advice on this. So for this Santa float, Kayla, I'd like to go to council on this for either the January the 11th regular council meeting or the January 13th budget meeting, final budget meeting. Do I need a motion? Should I have a motion from the BIA directing me to go to council to deal with this Santa float? Kayla?
Hi, Doug.
Wake up, Kayla.
Yeah, I think it could be very beneficial to have the BIA's backing with something like that, especially if you're going to put in a formal request as it pertains to the budget. If
So
that's something the BIA wants to do.
So what we're
Well, and the reason why I say the budget, ladies, is because you know, obviously, no matter if the township's going to help out here, it's going to cost a little bit of money. I don't know how much money it's going to cost, but there's going to be money involved. And so anyway, I was just sort of thinking, well, I could do it at the regular the council meeting in January, or we do have one meeting, I believe, I think it's on January 13th, where we sort of modify the budget is from the public feedback that we've got over the last, you know, like a couple of months. Because we've been working on the budget, so from the public feedback that we get, we can modify the budget on January the 13th. So I may bring it up at that meeting, or I may just bring it up at the January 11th regular council meeting. But either way, can somebody throw a motion out there directing me to do so, to take it to council and resolve the situation?
I wouldn't mind throwing out a motion saying that we would request up to $4,000 annually for storage and transport of items related to BIA activities and events. Does that seem like a reasonable request and be like a realistic amount?
Well,
I'm going a little
I
high
think it's
here.
got to be.
I'm going a little high here.
Yeah. No, I think it's got to be directed more for the actual Santa float rather than BIA events and everything. I think we've got to, direct it towards the Santa float. If we're going to deal with if we want council to deal with the Santa float, that's what we're going to have to direct it to. I don't know that they're going to get. I think you're going to get some pushback from them if we just make it a generic 4,000 towards BIA events. Storage and events. So I think it's got to be more pinpointed, more directed to the Santa Claus float.
I take your point, Doug, but Sarah's right. We just lost our shed behind Foodland last month. And if we are expected to do something as big as Creemore Nights again, we're going to need storage for certain items. And it's not just going to be the Santa Claus float.
I'm already storing items in Creemore storage.
And I don't want to be so specific. Our needs are going to change, so I think it's easier. I think if what we want is for Clearview Township to consider becoming Santa Claus, then that's a whole other thing to talk about. But if it is about storing items that facilitate our activities, we could put something in including Santa Claus Parade so that they have an idea. I also wouldn't mind making a presentation so that they understand the pickle, or maybe Lori could make a presentation understanding the pickle that we're in around this. But I would hate to limit ourselves to just Santa Claus Parade stuff when it's such a universal need.
Okay. So I think if you want to expand it to storage and such. And I think it would be a good idea then maybe for the BIA to make a presentation at the January the 11th meeting. And then maybe at the January 13th budget meeting, I can bring it up and say, look, like they came, they made the presentation, let's give them the $4,000 or whatever at the budget meeting. I could request that. So.
And honestly, I think we're looking less for money and actual space and support. Like, money is not our biggest problem. It's actually finding the physical space and being able to physically move these things. So correct me if I'm wrong, Lori and Heather, but it seems to me that like allocation of staff time and municipal space is actually what we really want.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, especially for things like, planters in the future,
We're already asking for help with the planters, right?
Exactly. We are asking for help. And I think formalizing it will put us in a position where we're not kind of caught out like we constantly are, where we end up with these problems because we're not working hand in hand. And maybe if there was sort of an allocation of time and money, then we would have a clear understanding of what we could expect from municipal staff. And we would sit down and create an active plan maybe at the beginning of every year so that we're not always just kind of dealing with these things ad hoc.
Yeah, that's excellent idea, Sarah, actually, because now I'm thinking about it. Terry and I had talked about the plants watering, in the future. And he agreed that, 2020, they couldn't do it, but maybe 2021, they could add it to their budget where they'd include the watering of the Creemore plants on the street. And so we had made an agreement that they would do the maintenance of the trees this year if we continued our contract with the people watering. But, again, that's another thing. But Doug, we may have to finish our own budget though before we go to them with a budget. Wouldn't you agree?
Probably, yeah.
Because I don't know realistically. I know I'm almost guaranteed I don't think any of us are in a position to get that done before December 30th or December 31st this year. I know typically we have our GM in December, but I think we all decided that because of the pandemic and just everything that's going on, none of us have the bandwidth to do it. So we're looking at January to get our budgets finalized.
But regardless, could we not put in the ask of $4,000 or $5,000 of allocation in time and space equivalent, and then we can work it out. Kayla, yes.
I think you brought up a really good point when you were discussing an actual storage facility costing $12,000, and that being quite a significant chunk of your yearly budget. I wouldn't see a problem in asking. The worst they could say is no.
Mhm.
I have prepared a motion if, oh, go ahead.
No, it wasn't 12,000. Didn't you say it was $1,200?
Oh, yeah.
1,200. Yeah.
But still represents about 5% of our budget. We only have a $20,000 budget. Is that right? Anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it would be great if we use this budget conversation as a conversation around really resourcing and proper resourcing. Money takes time and energy to spend, and that's something that we struggle with. Money is not a problem for us. It's accessing services in a way that I think the municipality could really help us with. So I don't know how that works, but
it's not that the money is hard to spend. It's just that I think all of us have a hard time spending money on operational things that don't seem to really benefit the businesses. We're here to advocate and to promote on behalf of the businesses. And I feel sometimes that a good portion of our budget is spent on sort of the operational and the admin kind of side of things in terms of garbage collection, plant watering, you know, all these sorts of things, storage, that don't actually provide value, I don't think, directly to our businesses in terms of vitality and sustainability. And so I think that we need to work on promotion, sustainability, all those sorts of things of the businesses, and hope that the township maybe can help us on sort of the back end of that, which is the operational side in terms of admin, you know, like we were just saying, plant watering, storage, all these sorts of things that are necessary. And so maybe, you know, maybe we can share it or something, but, you know, maybe we can just work together. Like Sarah says, there's a lot of resources in terms of people and places that maybe they could help us out with now if they understood more about our needs.
So I'm going to be blunt here. I'm going to be blunt. This started out as a place to store the Santa Claus float. And now all of a sudden we're getting into all these other, items. So I think you need to come to council. You need to make a presentation to council, because I can't do that. I don't know what all you need. So I think that you need to come and make a presentation to council. I was just going to go, you know, what I was thinking of was going to council and saying, look, we have Creemore with a Santa Claus float that they're having a hard time finding storage for. We have other communities with their own Santa Claus floats. We have the village of Nottawa, the hamlet of Calling Woodlands. They had a Santa Claus parade this year. Santa Claus was in the back of a pickup truck. So I was thinking, why don't we have one Santa Claus float for the whole community, for the whole municipality of Clearview, and the municipality take on that Santa Claus float, build it, maintain it, store it, and ship it to every community when they have their Santa Claus parade. So that was what I was going to recommend that the township do, and so it gets taken right out of your hands. All you do is you just phone up the township, you know, like when you have the date for your Santa Claus parade, and say, yeah, we want the float for that day, and the township brings it along. So anyway, that was what I was going to take to council. But you see, like you've got a lot bigger ideas there, so I think you're going to have to come and make the presentation. And
if that's what you're willing to put forward, I think that we as the BIA would support that too, don't you, Lori and Heather? Like, I would be all for you going and saying, let's do this for these small communities. I love that idea. And then we can address the other stuff separately. If you're willing to do it, I think all of us would.
We should take them up on it. Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right, Doug.
Yeah.
Keep it simple and keep it direct and detailed in terms of one thing.
Yeah.
So
the thing is that we need to get the other councillors on side. So, you know, I'm just looking at, you know, the other communities, they may be having difficulty too. I don't know. But when I look at, you know, like this year was sort of an anomaly. I mean, there were other communities that did their own Santa Claus parade because there wasn't an official parade. So, you know, like Nottawa did their own little one. I don't think they've done that before. Calling Woodlands, which I think there's about 80 houses in Calling Woodlands. They did a Santa Claus parade. I saw the pictures. Santa's in the back of a pickup truck. You know, I go up to St. Hampton Santa Claus parade every year. I don't know where the float comes from. You know, like it's I don't know who stores it, but I'm just thinking every community in the township has their own Santa float, and I'm thinking, why not just have one, you know, like a really nice one in the township? And the township probably doesn't have any storage areas. You know, like, and I didn't want to put Dan on the spot when he was there tonight, because I don't think Public Works has any excess space for storage. So the township may have to rent some space. Well, that's fine. The township can rent the space, and you know, and for the storage. So anyway, so that was what I was thinking about taking to council. But you know, so should I have a motion for that? And then what you want to bring to council, you can make a presentation and bring it when you're all prepared.
Yes, okay. I think so. Yes.
Kayla, what do you think?
Yeah. I know it's really basic, but no, that really sounds good. I mean, I prepared a motion for you that you could take, and then I absolutely think that moving forward, just as you say, I think that's a great idea.
All right. What is the motion there, Kayla?
I have, be it resolved that the Creemore Business Improvement Area Board of Management hereby direct Councillor McKechnie to request partnership and storage of the Santa Claus Parade sleigh.
Partnership and storage? Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Yeah. And then I'm specifically talking to the council and about the Santa Claus Parade sleigh. I'm not talking about other event storage or anything. I'm just talking about the sleigh. You know.
Yep. I think that's a really good one, Doug. So let's, who would like to put this forward? I'll put it forward. Can I do that? No.
No.
So somebody else has to put it forward. Sarah will. And
I got to second it.
And all in favor? Great. Okay. So that's the motion is carried. So thank you, Doug, for offering to do that. And thank you for keeping us on track. Because I think sometimes we sort of jump off and go, oh yeah, but we have to do this and this. But it kind of reminds us that we do need to work in partnership with the township. And I think there's a real opportunity here in the beginning of January to do that. So thank you for reminding us about that.
So, I mean, I think your ideas are great there regarding all the event storage and other administration things and everything. It's just, I'll be honest with you, that's just above me, because I don't understand what all you need. I mean, I could go in there and tell them, you know, and request, and then they would be asking me all sorts of questions, and I'd say, I don't know. Yeah, so
fair enough. Yeah, that's fair. I think maybe I could convince Sarah, maybe the two of us as sort of the treasurer and the president. I think we could certainly go to the either, I think it's the January 11th I wrote down, or January 13th, I'm not sure. I can find out more details about those two meetings and see which one's more appropriate for us to make a presentation at. And I think perhaps we could go to one of those meetings, right, Sarah? Are you on board?
And is there value in talking to maybe some of the staff in advance and seeing where they think that there might be opportunity for us to collaborate a little bit better? Because I feel like sometimes we create problems and headaches for them too. So like this snow removal thing is a fine example, right? So, I mean, my goal is to make it so that we're integrated and working better.
Yeah.
So, Kayla, do you have some recommendations for us there too?
Yeah, I don't think staff finds it a nuisance or anything like that. I think most of us are really willing to help. With the planter situation, I believe Dan just really had a hard time trying to get in contact with somebody, but that's to nobody's fault outside of the Christmas craziness. I would definitely suggest talking to some of the staff, like Amanda. She's world of knowledge, especially when it comes to storage. She's the one that has most of the parts and pieces that actually do live in storage, and she'll be able to direct you elsewhere, whether that's the recreation department, public works department. And there, I would also maybe reach out to Mara too. She has a lot of knowledge and information.
Okay, maybe it does come down to us kind of crystallizing what we really need and want, and then taking it to staff. So we might not have this ready for January 11th. I can tell you I'm not doing anything between now and January 11th, probably. But that's some good direction.
The problem we're going to have is that it sounds like they're going to finalize their budget on January the 13th. That's my worry. And then once it's finalized, there may not be an opportunity for us to ask for money.
It might not be money, but we might still be able to get support in terms of staff time. I don't know how that works,
Which is money, I think.
which is money.
In my
You can ask for money.
experience, they're quite able to find money for things like this. I mean, obviously it would be better, and as a treasurer you would know this, it's better to know up front what it is that we're budgeting for, but the township has been pretty good, especially, I mean, COVID's been a prime example of where they've been able to pick from certain funds and move it around, so it's not out of that realm of possibility.
And we're looking at like an under $5,000 ask in terms of time. We're not looking at like a $25,000 or $30,000 ask. So I do think that maybe this is just about sitting down and collaborating and making sure that at the beginning of the year, we kind of look at what we want our year to be like and see how we can all work together to make it happen.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. As Kayla said, there's money there. There's lots of money in reserve funds. But so it's just a matter of, taking it from one reserve fund or whatever, deciding which reserve fund to take it from. And once again, it comes down to council. I mean, council may vote not to fund it, but there's money there.
Okay.
Great. Well, that's really helpful.
So I don't think you have to worry about having it done for January the 13th or anything.
Okay.
I think anytime is fine. Okay.
Well, that'd be great, because like Sarah says, I think all of us are really swamped right now, so it's really hard. It's busier than it's ever been. So, okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate your thoughts there. The next meeting, and has anyone else got anything else for new business or unfinished business they'd like to add at this time? I know under unfinished business, I've got Jen and Oda sort of in the wings as potential new board members. And I know that Karen Godino has expressed in an email that she's no longer interested in being a member of the board. So I was wondering, Kayla, have you received any of the forms back from?
I've received Jen's,
Okay.
and she's scheduled in for the next closed session meeting. So that's fine. I would need a letter of resignation from Karen. I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
And then I can move that forward as well, and then that vacates one of the seats if you're looking.
Can we use and what about Jackie? Does she want to resign as well? Should we just get this all done? We might want to reach out to her too.
Yeah.
I mean, we can also use that 3-meeting absence rule if we need to, just to make it easy. It's in our constitution, but I don't know. Our constitution probably gets overridden by your policy at the municipality when it comes to these things anyway. Kayla.
No, we have a similar policy as well. That rule is fine. It stays. My suggestion might be, and I know that this isn't the time to bring it up as everybody is extremely overwhelmed and super busy, but when we do visit that constitution again, perhaps we look at, and again, just my suggestion, perhaps we look at maybe making that past president a 1-year term. Usually the past president is just kind of ushered in as, hey, guess what? You've earned a spot whether you want to be there or not. I think it's a really good tool to assist the new president if they need that requirement, but then that might help with another vacancy or a spot, an additional spot for somebody who maybe wants to be there.
Okay.
Well, that's right, because Jackie, yeah. Anyway, okay.
So let's do that. Would you mind, Kayla, would you be able to send Oda also the forms if you'd like to be a member to fill out? Because I haven't had a chance to do that. So if you could send that to him, I tried to find it the other day for him on the Clearview site and I didn't find it. So that'd be great. And then I will try to get that resignation letter. I know she expressed in an email to me that she was no longer interested in her seat on board, but I don't have a letter. I've asked, but I don't have one just yet. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the last meeting of the year, guys.
Woohoo!
We made it.
That was quick.
2020 done, out of here. We did it. I don't know when our AGM is going to be. I'm hoping. I think it's going to be the first meeting in January for sure, because I'm going to be like asleep for most of January. So I'm thinking maybe the beginning of February or something. We should aim for. What are you guys thinking for an AGM? I know we sort of should probably start to put it on the books.
Sure.
Consider maybe the first meeting we have in February, would that be reasonable for you guys?
Sounds great.
What do you think?
Yep.
I'm sort of going with the caveat that we won't be as busy in January and that we'll have some time to kind of meet potentially virtually on a conference calls or something to put some ideas together. And again, we might be looking at a different world in February. We might be all vaccinated, like who knows, right? So kind of have to sort of see what's going to happen with events and things. It's really, really hard for us to plan right now in December because right now we can't. So I don't know how we'd allocate money for the summer. So
Nope.
So we're looking at maybe February 9th for AGM. Is that reasonable?
Yep. I'll have all the I'll have a pretty good, clean financial report by then.
Yeah, so that gives us a little bit of time in January for us to kind of get together and sort of see what the world looks like and see if we can make any plans by then.
Good.
All
Okay.
right. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, everyone. I know everyone's super tired and busy, and I appreciate all your time. You guys are rock stars. All
We
of
need
you.
a motion.
Oh, do we? Oh, yeah. Heather, thank you for making that motion.
Seconding it. Okay, guys.
Thank you. All in favor? We're out of here. Goodbye, 2028 BIA meetings.
Woohoo! Bye.